I think the one question I get asked the most, beyond the "what joystick do you use" question, it's all written in my about page, would be what simulation should I buy as a new player? Here's the thing, you're your own judge of what you like and what you don't like. At the same time, I do feel it is my responsibility as an apparently moderately efficient YouTuber to inform you a bit about all the products out there, because at the end of the day, an informed customer is usually a happy customer. Before we get started though, please listen to 3 very important pieces of advice. Not doing so might hurt your wallet. A lot. First, bear in mind that we are talking about simulations here, and while some allow for some kind of mouse control, a joystick, even a very basic one, is generally a must-have to enjoy the title. If you do not have a joystick and have no wish to acquire one, you should already rule yourself out of ever going into the sim genre. Advice number 2. Other equipment such as pedals or track IR are often considered necessary, but they're not really required for new players. However, should you enjoy sims and should you stick with them, they will eventually find themselves on your shopping list. And lastly, please take note that simulations are not exactly easy on you or on your free time. If you know you like arcade games and generally have no patience to stubbornly, and I do mean stubbornly, stick out your dweeb face, you set up your controls, readjust your peripherals, learn and be very, very self-critical, then make an about turn, because sims are not for you at that point. Also, generally sims have only a very limited value for pure single-player focused players, although some titles offer user-made missions or mods to alleviate this problem. Multiplayer is usually the big factor, but at that point you have to be aware that the player base is usually organized around the European or Russian time zones. But with those 3 important things out of the way, let's look at the 4 main titles that in my opinion should be on your watch list. DCS, also known as Digital Combat Simulator. Io2 Battle of Stalingrad and Battle of Moscow. Io2 Cliffs of Dover. Rise of Light. DCS. This title is often considered to be the top of the top when it comes to simulations. Over the years it has built up a sizable number of modules, each allowing access to another plane. While some planes are based in World War II and future releases are set to expand on this, most planes are of the more modern type, giving you access to a variety of modern jets like the Su-27, MiG-29, F-15C, or, via its flagship module, the A-10C. DCS allows you to immerse yourself into modern aerial combat. While there are some fluctuations in quality between the different modules, mostly due to the fact that some are simply older than others, the game still offers an impressive amount of detail in every regard, to the point where you might want to consider printing out the flight manual for the plane that you want to fly. I sure did, as the learning curve can be quite steep at times. DCS will require a lot of your time at first, and generally players end up playing this title due to either a strong interest in a specific plane or after having progressed to DCS from other simulation titles. Recently, the game has seen an overhaul of its game engine, and although the process is not yet complete, this change has done away with one of the main complaints the title was getting previously related to its performance. Overall, even though the title has a deserved reputation for complexity, it is very accessible due to offering a free trial giving you access to the Su-25T, also known as Frogfoot, and the civilian version of the P-51. Later purchases can bite into your wallet, as most modules only bring one plane for a premium price. However, if you have the patience, frequent sales lower the price for each module considerably. Io2 Battle of Stalingrad and Battle of Moscow. The newest sim on the market, Battle of Stalingrad, or BOS in short, is a title that I greatly enjoy, just like its semi-expansion Battle of Moscow. Set on the Eastern Front in either 1941 or 1943, both games pit the Luftwaffe against the Russian Air Force. Each game gives you access to 8 different planes, or 10 upon the purchase of the deluxe version. Battle of Moscow stands out in this regard, offering the US-American P-40 and the Italian MC-202 as optional fighters. While both tend to be inferior to the planes of the standard pack, they are unique in the sense that they were voted for by the community and offer access to a non-German and non-Russian vehicle. Both games, being relatively new titles, have had some teething problems at the start, as is usual with simulation titles. While some of these issues still exist to this very day, the game receives systematic updates and has improved tremendously over the past months. Sadly, the performance-related problems still prevent many players from enjoying this title fully or at all. There are also some concerns due to the currently implemented restrictions in multiplayer on those that do not own both games. Both games also include the option to use the mouse as a control device or to operate a tank on the ground. However, both features are pretty limited at this point, and tanks are only available to you on specific multiplayer servers. As such, both should be considered as a gimmick at most and should not influence your decision making whether to buy this game or not. While certainly not showing the complexity of DCS, BOS has been the purchasing choice of many inexperienced players who are quick to give up after being surprised by the overall learning curve and patience required, with multiplayer being especially brutal. Sadly, currently no free trial exists for the games, but there are frequent discounts for the title, and these are worth to wait for should you be on the fence. Io2 Cliffs of Dover. The successor of the fabled original Io2, Cliffs of Dover was off to a rocky start, effectively resulting in the dissolution of much of the developer post-launch. Portraying the unforgotten Battle of Britain, it took a mod team to take over the reins and create a truly fantastic title that has shed off its horrible legacy. Now, with the Team Fusion mod, the game enjoys a small but very active player base on the multiplayer, with many squadrons meeting up regularly to organize flyouts and squadron versus squadron engagements. Probably slightly easier to get into than Battle of Stalingrad due to how the joystick controls are implemented, Cliffs of Dover still has a learning curve attached to it. It is also necessary to download the Team Fusion mod to get anything worthwhile out of the title, a process that can cost quite a few nerves at time as the installation is not that straightforward. Cliffs of Dover offers no free trial but can currently be had at a budget price. Rise of Light. Rise of Light is certainly the odd one out on our list. Recreating World War I combat from 1916 to 1918, it has a truly unique set piece and catapults you back in time to when chivalry was set to rule the rules of engagement. While I would be careful about such a romantification, Rise of Light is a great title for those wishing something else, something refreshing, and something a bit more slow-paced. While the engagement and fights in Rise of Light are just as heart-racing as those of other sims, the title boasts a time-intensive but very well-made career mode for single-player, and still has an active multiplayer player base, although it's somewhat diminished over the years and due to the niche concept within an already niche genre. With most planes being quite easy to fly, although hard to master, Rise of Light is a relatively easy game to get into and also allows for a limited form of mouse control, just like Battle of Stalingrad. Rise of Light has a free trial available, offering access to all forms of content in line with the free planes available in this trial. Beyond that, depending on how you acquire the game, you can add individual planes via microtransactions or buy specific Steam plane packs. Keep in mind that multiplayer maps are set around a specific chosen plane set that could prevent you from playing at certain times should you not have acquired all the planes that the game has. Based on the same but older version of the current Battle of Stalingrad engine, Rise of Light and its free trial will allow you to roughly estimate your machine's performance when running Battle of Stalingrad, although any values should be taken with a big pinch of salt. For additional information on all of these titles, check out an older video I did some months ago. While pretty rambly and not as concise as this one, it does go into some more detail on specific issues. That said, I hope this video has given you a good overview of the different titles out there. Before buying a title and the necessary equipment, I encourage you to think a bit more whether you would actually enjoy a simulation or not, and also consult other fans of the genre before making your choice. If you've liked this video, give me an iron cross via that like button. Or don't, that is fine as well. Should this video have been helpful for you, please consider sharing it to support the channel. As always, have a great day, good hunting, and see you in the sky.